Hello everybody, Ollamh here, and welcome back to The Lost Cases of Sherlock Holmes. So this is the next to last case, King Arthur's Arrow, which is kind of curious because I don't remember King Arthur being that into archery or known for archery. Who killed Brigadier Escott in the family garden? A Knight of the Round Table? Surely you joust. Oh my dear gods, they're getting horrible with the puns.
As you can see, Mr. Holmes, we found Brigadier Escott this morning here in the family garden. We've moved his body into the manor house, but you can see where he fell in the mud.
You say he was killed by a single arrow, which struck him from behind and pierced his heart. Tell me, Inspector, where was the last place the house guests saw him alive?
In his private cottage. That's where he maintains his hobby, Arthurian archaeology, Knights of the Round Table and all that nonsense. Every year at this time, Escott Manor hosts the Brigadier's annual outdoor games tournament. He boasted that he could trace the Escott family line directly to King Arthur himself.
A dubious claim, but a typically eccentric one. I would like to see his private cottage.
Okay, so that's at least now we know where the whole King Arthur thing comes in. Well, that plant's moved. That plant has changed. Wow, for what little time has passed, those plants have grown a lot. Alright, let's see here. Well, there's Holmes's cap, which saves us that whole thing. Those plants are from Tillman, the gardener. He provides fresh cuttings here every day. Well, that's nice of him. Somebody's left some tools laying around. Tracing his genealogy to King Arthur, just as you said, Inspector. Okay. The Brigadier is very proud of his three children, Samuel, Victor, and Amelia. Okay, so Samuel... Wait. Would he be there or would he be there? I'm not entirely sure. Rachel bears a striking resemblance to her mother Julia, but seems to have the temperament of her father Edwin. Okay. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how he's... So, Brigadier, Victor recently wrote, so, wait, I'm not sure. Okay, so Rachel is the daughter of... Yeah, I really don't know... Okay, Eleanor is concerned that her son Daniel may never find a wife. Sarah finds it difficult that her husband Samuel has not spoken to his cousin Rachel in months. Okay, so... Sarah finds it difficult that her husband Samuel, so Sarah is married to Samuel. Who has a cousin. So Sarah, Samuel, Victor, Amelia. He hasn't talked to his cousin, Rachel. That's the only way that could work. Archibald has had a reputation for spoiling his grandchildren when they were younger. So Archibald would go here. The Brigadier is very proud of his kids. Eleanor is worried that Daniel won't find a wife. Victor recently wrote to... Oh. Okay, Rachel has a striking resemblance to her mother, Julia. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Still a far cry from King Arthur, but who can begrudge a man like the Brigadier for his fancies? Right, I would imagine a few people could, actually. Okay, so a spade. Brigadier. The Brigadier was an amateur archaeologist. I understand he dug up half of Glastonbury to prove his family's connection to King Arthur. Okay, so we still need 1 hammer and 2 something else's. Alright, there we go. There's 1 something. A compass. Okay, so we need another compass. There's the second hammer. Those hammers belong to Bailey, a local archaeology student and admirer of the Brigadier. That's nice, I think. Maybe. Provided he wasn't the one that did the murder. Alright, so feather duster. Let's see here. So we're still missing... There it is. Okay. Mr. Popplewell? From the house down the lane, gave those compasses to Brigadier Escott just last week. Kind of curious. Okay. The feather duster and dustpan are from the cleaning lady, Mrs. Beagle. She always complained about the Brigadier's untidy habits.
Given the time and position of where the body fell in the garden, the arrow must have come from one of the windows of Escott Manor's east side. Inspector Lestrade, if you would escort us there.
This is Rachel's suite. She's the Brigadier's niece and one of Bailey's classmates. Oh, good grief, and more spot the differences, huh? They really get a workout with these. Now that's curious. The Big Ben and flag are gifts from Rachel's best friend, Abby. She has been visiting from school at the University of London this week. Okay. That's kind of interesting. But why would what purpose would she have to commit murder? Somebody's a bit of a boozer there. Cup of tea. Lambert, the upstairs manservant, brought Rachel some tea and some sleeping pills to calm her after she heard about her uncle's death. he just had sleeping pills laying around? That's suspicious. Because he could have made sure anybody was out and, you know, was basically asleep and knocked out while he was in shooting from their window. Why did she have two of the same doll? That's creepy. Okay, so footprint. Which means the other footprint's has to be somewhere less likely. No? Okay. Well, kind of. It's like under the seat. Those footprints must be from Rachel's new fiancé, John Weston, England's champion archer. The Brigadier loved him like a son, yet it was John who found the Brigadier's body in the garden. Right, so he may have had reason to off the Brigadier so that he could get into the Brigadier's family. The hairbrush and hand mirror belonged to Rachel, the Brigadier's niece. This is her suite. He raised her since she was a baby after her parents died 19 years ago. So may have been she was kind of jealous of how of not being his true daughter.
We passed the tournament games room next door. We shall continue our investigations there.
Okay. Oh, good. No matching stuff this time. So 4 scraps of paper, an envelope. Two more quivers, 3 holes. That looks like a gunshot hole. I mean, technically that's a hole, but not the hole you're looking for. Those swords are property of Lieutenant Mordaunt's. He once served in the Brigadier's regiment. I've heard there was no love lost between them. Okay, but that gives him motive. But was he a decent shot with a bow and arrow? Dueling pistols. Those are dueling pistols belonging to Sir Robert Avery, who won the marksmanship tournament. He's an old rival who publicly called Brigadier's King Arthur theories bunk. Okay, so potential motive as well as natural ability. Hand-fletched arrows, not a common sight. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, when I saw that one, I'm like, oh, there's one missing there. Those arrows belong to Andrew Evers, but someone has tampered with them. I think you'll find that the arrow that was used probably matches the one that is missing from one of the quivers. An envelope addressed to AE, but the letter's been torn. There we go. I didn't have time to read it. Until last month, Rachel was engaged to Andrew Evers of Evers Hall. As of yesterday's tournament, he is now England's second best archer. Throughout the games, he and the Brigadier avoided each other like the plague. So that is highly suspicious. So that last hole, where exactly? I'm just not seeing it. Oh, it's dead center there. Those bullets look like the work of Lady Felicia Mundell. It's said she shoots the surest rifle in the country. I wish to conduct a few select interviews while I'm on the estate. I'll also take that envelope if you please, Watson. If you please. Watson, Inspector, meet me in the main hall drawing room in 1 hour. Okay, and on to... Okay, let's see here. He was a marksman. He had a necktie. She has a necktie. Soldier. But wait, he doesn't have a hat. Who else has a hat? You have a hat. Okay, so you don't have dimples.
Magnificent!
Alright, there we go. Whew. Alright, now. Flowers, hammer, sword, pistol, boot print, compass, hand mirror, dustpan, bottle, Big Ben, letter, bullet hole. Okay. How much of that can you remember?
Perfect. You got it. Perfect. That's it.
See, the second best archer is highly suspicious. I mean, he has a lot of the qualifiers there. And I didn't I didn't have time or the ability to read what was in the letter.
Nice work. Nice work. Righto. Perfect.
Yep. It was him. Like I said, he had means, motive, and the just raw talent.
Andrew Evers had been engaged to Rachel, the Brigadier's niece, until last month. That's when Brigadier Escott discovered that Evers already has a wife in America and another in Kent.
I see. My men in Scotland Yard have been on the trail of his assumed names without knowing who he really was.
The letter was from the Brigadier to Evers, explaining that Evers must either confess all and forever leave the country, or else face the consequences with Scotland Yard.
So Evers killed the Brigadier to keep his secret. By using a well-placed arrow, and by planting that muddy print in Rachel's room, Evers tried to frame Weston for the murder.
Then he threw the tournament, using arrows he tampered with himself, to further point suspicion at Weston.
Precisely. Inspector, you now have ample reason to bring Andrew Evers in on murder charges. After you have done so, I don't envy your next task. Explaining all to the wives and others who, like young Rachel, were fooled by such a scoundrel.
Okay, so yeah, that one... That kind of... I mean, the idea that, okay, he wasn't the best archer doesn't mean that he wasn't good enough to shoot from a window and kill the guy. It just means that there was somebody who happens to be a better shot for whatever reason, whether he threw it or not. Next time, we'll finish up this particular game with the 8 Clocks Assassin, which sounds just all kinds of fun. Until then, as always, thank you guys very much for watching, and don't forget to press the subscribe button down below so that you can stay tuned for more from Ollamh Productions. Cheerio!
And now they cannot awake. We need to invoke Legba and break the spell, but we have no one to gather 3 roots and 3 mushrooms.
I don't think we need to rule this out. I know we disagree about the drive, but you can't risk a Nautilus, Mandy. Just go outside and check the antennas, okay?